Hey everyone, Mad Lion here today to talk to you about one of our favorite dumb rap boys, Dice! Good old Dice. When HypMic first came out and Dice's profession was listed as gambler, it made a lot of people go, because, well, in Japan, gambling is illegal. At least the type of gambling that most people imagine. Giant, flashy casinos filled with slot machines and game tables that supposedly pay out massive amounts of cash, these are illegal. The idea of making a living as a gambler in Japan is pretty laughable. But gambling is very much a thing in Japan, and Dice is involved in, well, all of it. First of all, let's have Juto come in and explain what's allowed and what's not allowed in Japan. And we're going to assume that the Chuoku government has kept this up, since the HypMic canon still seems to match reality. Privately owned casino operations. Although this was technically legalized in 2016, it hasn't gotten any traction yet. Private betting on games like poker or mahjong, you cannot bet privately on these games. Private betting on sports, like baseball or soccer, you cannot bet privately on sports. Basically, any sort of private betting or gambling that's behind closed doors, this is illegal. The key word is privately operated or conducted. Betting on official races. These are horse races, boat races, bike races, you name it. If they're official races, then you can bet on them. Buying lottery tickets. Hey, it's gambling, right? Playing games like poker or mahjong as long as no real money is involved. You can trade chips, you cannot trade cash. Dice's favorite pastime, pachinko. Pachinko and slot machine parlors are operated by metal balls or special metals, not cash. So you pay cash to get these things, but you can only win prizes. There's not really money involved. And if you're a 2D mobage person like me, our beloved gacha games are also considered legal gambling as long as they post the odds. So why are the activities I just listed okay? Because they're publicly controlled by the government, and the key word is controlled. The above are considered leisure activities, and you're not likely to win big. Most of the cash bets will go to the government, and these activities are advertised as a way to enjoy yourself, not as a way to win your way to early retirement. Illegal gambling is much more likely to bring you results because it doesn't have strict regulations, but it also comes with very high stakes along the lines of going to jail. In short, if the government approves and controls it, gambling is legal. If the government disapproves and does not control it, gambling is illegal. And even the slightest bet on the tiniest game of mahjong can ruin your life, especially if you're a politician. More on that later. So what kind of gambling does Dice do? We actually get a list of sorts in the February 10th, 2022 ARB event. Style up in a suit and get that prize money. At the end of the event, after Dice wins 1 million yen for looking good in a necktie, classic ARB, he gets chased down by the following people he owes cash to. His horse racing buddies, his boat racing buddies, his pachinko and slot parlor buddies, his mahjong buddies, and his casino buddies. And Hook 7 of the FP and M Plus comics is all about Dice and his gambling experiences. It's that chapter where he takes Gentaro to a gambling den to do research for a story and they end up uncovering some Chuoku corruption. These two are so funny! Dice has his hands in literally all the gambling, legal and not. The first time we meet him, he's at a pachinko parlor, and we know he haunts a specific one in Shibuya, and Gentaro knows exactly where it is. In the ARB Fairy Tale event, Dice wins Ramada's birthday gifts at the slot machines and says he'll get Gentaro a necklace from that same collection of prizes someday. It's also canon that Dice has connections in underground casinos and is able to find them wherever he goes based on his weird gambler instincts. Now this comes up several times in the HypMic media, including FP&M Plus Hook 7 from before. And Dice has had to pay for risky gambling. In Hook 7, Dice declares he's done with illegal casinos for unnamed reasons. He just says a lot happened. And let's not forget Dice's story in ARB about how he got forced into working on a tuna boat to pay off his debts and almost drowned once. This was a good story. As an aside, Dice can actually be one of the more challenging MCs to translate for the specific reason. When he goes off on gambling and debt, he uses so much lingo and terminology, it'll turn your brain into a slot machine. So for a country that claims gambling is illegal, there's a lot of gambling going on in Japan. And there's plenty of gambling addiction that goes with it. Dice's character is very real in the sense that there are millions of people in Japan who gamble, lose against the bad stakes put in place by the public system, take out loans, gamble, lose again, and may or may not get caught up in the dark side of illegal betting and lose more than just their money and their pride. And unfortunately, there isn't a lot of awareness about gambling addiction or addiction treatment because, well, gambling's not legal, right? Somehow Dice manages to stay happy-go-lucky about how much he loses, but I guess that's the benefit of having a posse who are always willing to feed you and take you in if you just suffer through them, scolding you for being an idiot and regularly threatening to sell your organs. To wrap it up, remember how we talked about illegal gambling being a big no-no, especially if you're a politician? It's lucky for Otome that Dice being her son doesn't seem to be common knowledge, because his illegal gambling habits would put her in a very tight spot as prime minister. In real life, prominent politicians and public figures have been put on the spot or forced to resign because of their own illegal dealings or illegal dealings in the family. And even though Otome has a tight grip on her party and her people, it doesn't look great if her own son is out breaking the law while she's attempting to clean up corruption in her own party. I'm sure she'd find a way out of it, maybe have Ray work some magic, but it's interesting that this aspect of real life shows up in Otome and Dice's relationship too. So that's your crash course in the realities behind Dice and his gambling ways. And while I don't suggest you go out and get into pachinko like I suggest you go get into manzai, I do recommend doing some more reading and research to get the full picture. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video interesting, hit that like button like Dice pulls a slot machine lever, and subscribe for more information and shenanigans. Bye!